Hey guys, all right, the finale. I'm gonna do some detail work, and now we're gonna start using the value, light and shade, all this stuff we've been talking about. So just a quick review real quick. So color, it's the visual sensation created by light. That's how we interpret color. Hue is the natural color. So my table here, the color has brown. The hue has brown, it's the same thing. The carpet is blue, the hue is blue. Intensity, this is the brightness or dull. Think of neon colors. Intensity and value get really mixed up, and they'll try to do that to you at the end of your test, but value is the light and dark, which I'm gonna talk about again in a second, but intensity is the brightness or dullness. Okay, so then you have what we talked about with the value. Whenever you're talking about tint in art, it means you add white. Shade, you're adding black. All right, so keep that in mind. We talked about that last year, all that, keep that in mind. Okay, so I've got all of our paintings. I've actually got quite a few examples for you. So whatever your painting was, hold tight. I'm gonna show you some examples here. So we got our base paint down. I have this ball. I'm gonna slide this one over. I don't need this one right now. And then I have a minion here. I always wanna say minion. An Among Us character. Okay, and my ball here is actually upside down. So I've added the base color. I have my area of light coming in. It's coming in from this direction. I'm gonna show you on these two what I mean by the light and shadow. Basically, we're gonna use less water with the watercolors. We're gonna use less water with the brush and get darker to make the shade and all this stuff. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna show you these two examples. Now we're doing landscapes. This is more like a portrait. This is a landscape. Oh, we need you to know the difference. And this was the one I chose as my main one. So I had the sharktopus attacking the palm tree. I know it's horrible. But I'm gonna just show you some of the tricks of how we make this even better with the light and shadow. All right, so let's do the ball first. We'll start out slow. So I'm gonna use a little bit less water, and that's a blue. So I'm gonna go in here for the blue. And what I'm gonna do is light, shadow. I'm gonna come here. First, I gotta activate sometimes this paint wants to be very nuisance. It wants to be very impatient, doesn't wanna come out. So I'm gonna come here, start adding a darker blue. Okay, and you already start to see it show up. For me, I think it's easier to make something lighter than it is to make it darker. So I'm gonna go and add a strip there. And voila. And you see I'm just using the water to keep, and it kind of just goes in pattern. Dark, really dark, dark, lighter, light, until the white kind of takes over. And now my ball here is looking way more like a sphere and a ball than it is just a flat circle. Now we had red out here. What I'm gonna do here, use darker red, less water, and what that does is creates a little bit of a shadow for me. Okay, now let's change colors back to that blue. I'm gonna dry out my brush a little bit more than normal, and I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna put it even darker right back here. Okay, blend it in a little bit. And voila. I'll let that dry. Not bad for a rough draft. Okay, almost did it again. The Among Us. So, come here, I'm gonna go purple. I have a purple ground here. What I'm gonna do is actually create a shadow, because he's creating a shadow on the ground, because that light's hitting him. There's a lot of ways to do shadow. I'm just doing mine this way. Don't worry, we are gonna get back to the landscape in just a second. All right, so if we're in here in the body, changing colors, but I'm gonna dry out my brush more than normal. I'm gonna go to blue. There's different brushes. I'm using one brush for everything here. I could probably switch of brushes. But voila. See how that goes from dark to light? Add some water here. blend it in a little bit better. Okay, then I'm gonna go straight blue and add that bottom part's the darkest. Dark to light, just like your value scale. Okay, then as far as the red goes, I'm gonna come here, there's a little spot here. It's a little bit too light, I want a little bit darker. Voila. Okay, I'm gonna come here and make my line. And this is going by how they draw and actually create them. They have a light shadow up here and then dark at the bottom. It also creates more form and makes them darker. And you see the crayon here goes right over top of it, we're fine. You'll get used to your brush about when to add water, when to go back in. It's like riding a bike. It takes trial and error. I learn something new all the time. I think the only thing that gets frustrating with me is how if I have to keep going back. Like when your paint dries out, but you're trying to get darker. Like I just tipped my brush in the water barely and I got the one I want. You don't want to keep adding water over top, like let it dry some, because if you keep adding over top of it, you start to see the paper fall apart or it gets really drowned. Even though this is strong watercolor paper, it can only hold so much. Like I'm not gonna go over that section anymore. I might let it dry some and then come back to it. Now, we have this line here. I want it to blend in a little more. I'm gonna add a lot more water, dry it off just a bit, but then I'm gonna go back over with no paint and just blend that line into there a little bit, so where it's more natural. And you don't have to go that fast. And there we go. Now I'd probably go back and make cleaner strokes when it dries off, but you get the point. It looks a lot better with the value. There's the ball, and I'm sure you guys will do better than me. So I'm gonna show you a little bit on my main one right here, and then I am going to turn you loose so you can go have fun. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and start over here with the brown. So I've got my light source. I'm gonna have my shadow coming off my palm tree here a little bit. So what I do is it takes the same design, just at a different angle. Starts wide and gets smaller at the bottom. And you see the shadow, and now it's not looking as flat. That's a little dark right there, which is fine. And that's gonna be my last coat with it. And voila, I got my shade right there. I also can go inside because they're overlapping those little, the sections of my palm tree. So I can come in here a little bit. This will make it not look so flat. Okay. My shark, put a little black in some areas, a little bit darker. I got a little bit too much brown in there still. I gotta go clean it out. But I'm gonna go back for black again. Add some water if you make a mistake. I don't like what I just did, which is fine. That's art, don't worry about it. That, and I might pull some of this over to here. Sun's hitting it, so I do want a little shiny spot right there. So I'm gonna get some black. I'm gonna hit it hard over here. Make it blend in. Now I would go get a smaller brush and blend it in a little bit better. But for right now, this is good. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Then I could go in here and also Add some blue in this water. Like I said, light and shadows. And I'm gonna show you a little trick here. Now, I want you to take your more time. I'm kind of rushing here, messing it up. I like it a little bit, it's okay. I'm harder on myself as an artist, so I see where I make mistakes. So if I did this again, I would know what to do and what not to do. All right, so now, one of my little tricks, I'm gonna grab my bowl here. When this dries, I can cheat with the pastels a little bit. So I'm gonna come here, actually, I'm gonna put a little tip, like shine, because sharks, their sandpaper skin can like reflect some light. Okay. I'm also gonna hit a little bit of yellow. This is just a crayon, but that's fine. If you got a pastel or crayon, that's fine. And what I'm gonna do, add a little bit of yellow. It's gonna look green, that's fine. Now I can do this with a little bit of yellow paint when it dries. But I'm gonna add, clean out my brush really good. Swirly, swirly, tap, tap. Okay, I'm gonna go in the yellow. If your water starts to turn really dark, like coffee, like it's thick, you can't see through it, then it's time to change out your water. I meant to tell that in the last video, but I forgot. And you can always mix other colors too. You've seen the skies that go pink and purple and all that stuff. You can have fun with that. Don't feel bad if you have to reference one, go look at a picture. Okay, and then I'm gonna add a little dark green to make my palm trees not look so flat. So, longer video, I apologize. Just want to show you guys how this works. Take your time, have some fun, put in that light and shadow, make these look really, really cool. And I will see you next week as we'll start another project. All right, guys? Awesome. Be safe. Take care of each other. If you need anything, let us know. Bye-bye.